It's with deep, heartfelt regret that I'm here to inform you that we have lost another wonderful contributor to Mysteries of Superstition Mountains. Just 2 days ago, Clay Wurst, 95 years old, has passed away. Clay was born in Dorr, North Dakota, right on the Dakota and Montana line. His father was a farmer and a member of a soldier who served in the Spanish-American War of 1898. In fact, when I put the America's Mounted Military History exhibit together, Clay Wurst loaned me his father's jacket to put on one of the mannequins. That jacket participated in the inaugural parades of Ronald Reagan and George Bush Jr. Clay was more than a Dutch hunter. He was a contributor to the Apache Junction community, to the museum, and the community at large. As he moved to Arizona in 1967, he bought and built the Parkway Plaza in Apache Junction, where his office was, where the early members of the society met until there were too many for that office, and we moved to the high school for our meetings. He was the founder of the Epiphany Lutheran Church and taught Sunday school lessons there, his whole attendance there. He was a good Christian man. And I'm going to tell you a story that I've told before about how honest and how much integrity Clay Wurst has. He also was instrumental here in Apache Junction before it was even a city, in naming the streets of Apache Junction, such as Superstition Boulevard, Lost Dutchman Street, a lot of names of plants like saguaro and ocotillo and things of that nature. All this was very important to the community of Apache Junction. But most people, despite all of the things that I've told you he was involved in, most people remember him as a Dutch hunter. Clay himself stated that he had spent 7 years, actual physical years, in the mountains over the time looking for Lost Dutchman Mine. He met many of the old-timers out there that had passed on before I even come into the scene. You know, I'm proud to say Clay was my friend. And I'm even more proud that Clay has said I was his friend. You know, when you're on a board, you're not supposed to be able to take a pecuniary profit from being on a board. Well, I didn't even know what that meant for many years until Clay demonstrated it. When we found the 160 acres that the museum is located on today, I helped Clay survey it. He done all his surveying with his real estate business. I helped him survey out the part of the land that we were going to keep. And we put up a big sign that said for sale of that 160 acres, with the phone number of the museum where we were at Goldfield at the time. And when I'd get a call, I would wait till whoever in the museum was through, then I'd lock the doors and go show the land. The very first person that contacted us, I went and showed the land to, and I perceived that him and his wife were interested, and I just kind of jokingly said, well, you want to buy it? And he said, sure. So right then and there, I took him to Clay that very moment. And I kind of perceived Clay, I couldn't explain it, but I kind of see a little hesitation in Clay about taking on the deal, but he did. Now, a pecuniary profit is like insider trading. We have hundreds and hundreds of congressmen who have made fortunes with information they learned while they were in office as a congressman. That's called insider trading, and that's illegal. And that goes down to various boards, and this nonprofit board of the museum. You're not supposed to make money on things you learn while you're there that nobody else has information about. And that was evidently the reluctance I saw with Clay, but he went ahead and he resigned from the board. He drew up the contract and handled the whole thing until it was over. He did not take a commission. Then he went back on the board. Now, folks, that's an honest man. Others have not done that. And he's a man of integrity. He's honest to a fault. And I've done many, many dealings with him over the years. I've known him almost 50 years. The man never broke his word. He always did what he said. And he's just an absolutely fine Christian man. And I visited him the afternoon of the evening that he died, and I told him what I thought of him. And it's just really sorrowful for me to see this man go on, not just because of the mysteries of the Superstition Mountain. He's contributed greatly to us. His stories have been responsible for many of the views that we've had over the years, which right now we're sitting at 20 million views and growing every day. And he was responsible for a great deal of that. He's had some of the most wonderful stories, true stories, that from his knowledge from Brownie Holmes, who was the son of Dick Holmes, who was at the deathbed of Jacob Waltz. And Richard shared with his son the last words of Jacob Waltz. And Clay was partners with Brownie Holmes for 20 years, and Brownie shared with him the words of the Jacob Waltz. He was the closest living person to the actual words of Jacob Waltz on his deathbed. And in our stories, we have shown the affidavit that Brownie made about the chain of custody of the gold that came from under the Superstition Mountains. And at the very end, it had the name of the person he gave the matchbox to X out. And now that Clay's gone, and the matchbox is safely stored in a bank, we can tell you that we've tried to protect Clay's identity as the owner of the matchbox for many years so people wouldn't plague him with visits and what have you. But Clay Wurst was the owner of the matchbox that came from the gold under the Dutchman's bed and was tested against all the mines in the Goldfield area and the Vulture mine, and proved beyond a doubt that the Dutchman gold was from an unknown source. Clay will be truly missed in the community of Apache Junction, and he'll really be missed by mysteries of the Superstition Mountains. And I'll leave you with his last words, a piece of advice about the Lost Dutchman Gold Mine.
It's back in the superstitions, somewhere out there.
Thank you for watching this episode of Mysteries of the Superstition Mountains.